Shalom, call Halayim La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Achakodash. Double honors unto our apostles and others, a great millstone that rule well. Much peace and blessings to all you sons of Akim out there that's pushing this 100% truth with all sincerity, faith, with charity. This is your brother Ash from the Great Millstone Miami Camp, coming back with another lesson, the Lord willing to edifying. In this lesson, I want to go into how our people, you so-called blacks in particular, okay, you so-called Negroes, you so-called African Americans, you're being fattened, okay? You're being fattened for the big kill, okay? You're being led to the slaughter, okay? And you don't even know it. You can't even see it, a lot of you, okay? And what I want to speak on is talking about this so-called Juneteenth, all right? Which was signed into law today by President Biden. Okay, and it says Juneteenth is a federal holiday in the United States celebrating the emancipation of African American slaves. Okay, and it's something that Jake has been talking about for a few years now, but they finally actually got it to where it's an actual federal holiday. Okay, meaning certain businesses are going to be closed, people are going to be off, and you're going to have the simple of our people celebrating like they actually won something. Okay, this is straight up witchcraft. This is straight up trickery and deceit, because our people, you have nothing to celebrate. Okay, because you're still slaves. Just because you're not on the field no more, just because you're not in shackled up with chains, doesn't mean that you're free. Okay? And if you had half a brain, if you had any sense, you would know that. You would understand. Okay, the scriptures tell us, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So the truth of who we really are, the truth of the Bible, the truth of the Heavenly Father and His Son, and their intentions for the planet Earth and for His people, that's what sets you free. Because our people are still slaves mentally. They're still slaves spiritually. They don't know what's going on. Okay? And they're celebrating way too early because this man, the so-called white man, Esau Edom, is getting ready to come down with great wrath, knowing that he have but a short time. This is just something that he's throwing out there just to get our people, to feel like everything is good, to deceive them, and to let their spiritual guard down, so to speak. And then Esau's going to come down with great wrath like he always has, man. This is his spirit. Okay? He got Jake celebrating. We free at last. Okay, in which the emancipation of the slaves, that was something much bigger going on that our people don't even know about. Okay, that was a plot of the elites to get the slaves off the field and into the workforce, and not just so-called Negroes, but everybody, all the people, man, to make you a debt slave. So you're still not free. Okay? Let's get some scriptures, all right? Because the Bible told us how this man would act. And you know that guy Joe Biden is the devil, man. The fact that they even doing it shows you that they have something planned. Okay, they got something planned ahead of time in the near future, which we already know they have plans on wiping you people out. But through the Spirit, Lord willing, they're going to start, the Most High is going to have something happen soon. Okay, this is book of Sirach chapter 10. Well, Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Okay, so you're never supposed to trust your enemy on any circumstance. That's what the scriptures tell us. So the Bible tells us that we have enemies. Who are your enemies? Your enemies are the other nations. I'm speaking to our people, Israel, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay? But I'm specifically talking about the Southern Kingdom in this lesson. Okay, you so-called Negroes, so-called African Americans, those that came over here through the slave trade. Your enemy, your number one enemy is the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. And the Bible tells you to never trust them. Okay? For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, right? This is him humbling himself and going crouching. Oh, you know what? Let's give you a holiday, all right? And we're gonna celebrate your freedom. When nothing about your situation has changed as a so-called black man in America, but you want to celebrate. Okay, you're still the last hired, first fired. You still got all the financial problems. You still are persecuted and what's the word? Stereotyped and profiled everywhere you go. Esau, Edom, and still have plans of coming down on you with the sword. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Okay, so just because when you see him talking about he want to give you a holiday and celebrate your freedom, you're free. Just know he got something planned. Better take good heed, beware of him. Okay. He does nothing for no reason. Everything the so-called white man does is deceitful. Okay, the Bible refers to him as the serpent. And one thing about a serpent is they don't move straight. They slither everywhere they go. Okay, they're crooked. Nothing they do is sincere or honest. Okay, everything they do comes with an ulterior motive and something behind it. And the sooner you realize that'll give you the better advantage of escaping this devil. All right. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Okay. So the so-called white man, you may think that, oh, he's good now, they changed. Joe Biden, he's a nice guy. Okay, the Democrats, they're my friends. See, they're making holidays for us and whatnot. But it's going to be made manifest that his rust is not altogether wiped away. And his rust, that's his wickedness, his hate for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, especially you so-called Negroes, man. Because you're Judah, the head tribe of the nation of Israel. Verse 12, set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. All right? They smile in your face all the time want to take your place. That's Esau, man. He's Cain, the first murderer of in the scriptures, of the history of the world, man. And he didn't murder anybody. He murdered his brother. Showing you how much of a devil he is. And that's who we're dealing with today. And he still wants to murder his brother. Which are you Israelites, okay? Neither let him sit at thy right hand. Okay, meaning don't trust him. Don't set him up as your right hand man, your counsel, your counselor. A man that you actually have around you and in your circle. Okay? And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. So when the so-called white man really shows his horns, you people out there, you Jakes out there, are going to realize that what we've been saying is true. You're going to realize the so-called white man is the devil. Verse 13, okay, but by that time it's going to be too late. Verse 13, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? Okay, so who's going to pity somebody who was bitten with by a snake that was just playing with a snake and had no business playing with a snake, knowing it's a venomous, deadly animal? You playing with it. If you get bit by it, who's going to have pity on you? Nobody. Or you just see a wild bear in the woods and you just run up on them and, thinking it's a game. And you get your ass tore up. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Most people may laugh at you. Verse 14, so one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? Okay? And that sinner here is talking about the so-called white man, Esau. You're supposed to know throughout history of what this man has done to us. You're supposed to always have your spiritual antennas locked in, waiting for, for him to do something else. You're supposed to know this man's track record. Verse 15, for a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. And you see that, man. You see a lot of these of our people that sell out. They'll do the most just to get on Esau's good side. And the minute they do, a little thing wrong, they paint you as the bad guy. You the worst thing ever happened. Put you all on his news media, okay? And point the finger at you. You see that time and time again with our people. Verse 16, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. Okay, so he's speaking sweetly with his mouth, saying, oh, Juneteenth, we're going to celebrate your freedom. But in his mind, he's thinking about how to destroy you. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Okay, so this devil is getting ready to spill our people's blood at a all-time high. And he's not going to be satisfied with it. This is Psalms 55 and verse 21. Let's start at 20. He hath put his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. Right, when the so-called white man came, over here to the Americas, he broke every treaty with the so-called Native American Indian, the so-called indigenous peoples, which are the tribes of Gad and Reuben. Here in the Americas, 2 tribes of the nation of Israel. He came with that same serpent mentality. Verse 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Okay, so they came over saying they wanted to be friends. They wanted to, work it out together and whatnot. But all the while in his mind, he was thinking about how to destroy our people and take their land. Okay, his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Okay, so that just shows you the spirit of the so-called white man. That's exactly how he moves. Okay, to all the tribes. And our people, you just very simple to think that there's actually something good that's gonna come out of this. All right, this is Job chapter 20 and verse, I start at 10. His children shall seek to please the poor. Okay, this is talking about Esau, Edom. Because in these last days, you got a lot of these so-called liberal, left-wing, type of so-called white people that, that's down with so-called Black Lives Matter, and they don't see color, and they get on their own kind about the different racism and things that's going on in this country. But deep down inside, they're the same devils. Okay? They're just ashamed of their history. And they're trying to get on Jake Good's side. That's why they're coming with these different things, telling, to so-called help our people. They want to give Jake's different loans and checks and whatnot. Verse 11, his bones, I read 10 again. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth. What's the sins of his youth? Okay, putting our people in cargo slave ships, hauling them around the world, forcing them to build up this wicked civilization for free. Okay, even going back to the so-called white man has a track record stemming all the way back to the garden, man. And the so-called white man, he's ashamed of his history. That's why he's doing little things like this to try to make it right. But deep down in his mind, he's not sorry for it. We shall lie down with him in the dust. And this is the key point, verse 12. Though wickedness be sweet in his tongue, in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. Right. So Esau right now, he's holding his tongue. He's making it seem like, oh, he likes our people. He wants to make amends for what our people have suffered here in this country for over the last 500 years. But that same wickedness, he's just holding it back. He's just biting his tongue. He hasn't changed. Verse 14, yet his meat in his bowels is turned. It is the gall of ass within him. Okay? So this devil is still plotting. Because he's a damn serpent that the Bible speaks of. Okay? Asp is is a type of serpent, a type of snake. This is Psalms 58 and verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Right, these devils are straight up liars, man. You can't believe nothing they say. Especially if they trying to say something to make it seem like they want to help you. That's when you really need to watch out. Verse 4, their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ears. So this scripture right here shows you that these devils are likened unto serpents. Serpents are snakes, venomous snakes that want to inject you with their poison. Okay, literally and spiritually. Verse 5, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming never so wisely. Okay, so these devils, they can't be changed, all right? The scriptures say that which I've made crooked, who can make straight. So these devils will never be your friend. They'll never be good. And you cannot let your guard down around these people, man. But hey, our people are getting ready to see. This guy, Joe Biden, he's gonna show his horns very soon, man. He already talking about encouraging our people to basically snitch on each other, and encouraging Americans to report so-called or potentially radicalized people. So we already know where this devil is going, and they're just fattening up our people for the slaughter, man, rocking them back to sleep. And 2/3 of our people here in Babylon the Great, they're gonna fall for the madness, and they're gonna be destroyed, man, by a series of events. Trusting in the devil. This is going to lead to their destruction, man. So that's just something I wanted to bring out. Lord willing, was edifying. To the next time, shalom.